Okay, these arithmetic series questions always look harder than they are when they're right at the end of the paper. You're going to get one of two things happening. Either they are going to give you two pieces of information that allow you to set up a simultaneous equation where you find A and D at the same time, or as they have done here, they're going to give you A, ask you to work out D, and on that basis ask you to work out N. And when you work out N, you're going to end up with a quadratic. And that's what happens here. All of these questions rely on two formulas. One is given in your formula sheet, and that is the sum right up to the nth term is equal to n over 2, and then you've got 2a, where a is the starting term, plus n minus 1 d. Okay, that's given to you on your formula sheet. The other one you have to know. It's not on your formula sheet, and it's the formula for the nth term, and that's equal to the starting term plus n minus 1 d, n minus 1 differences. You have to know that one. These days you can't go into the exam and immediately write that down while you're waiting to start the exam. You can only write it down once the exam has started. So you've got to know that. You've got to have that in your head. So there's a certain amount of information that they're going to give us. The first term is 10. So we already know what A is. And then we can write that down. A equals 10. And it says the 20th term of the series is 86. We can use then this formula to find out what D is, because we know A, and it's told us that N is 20. So that gives us an equation in only one unknown. So we go ahead and do that straight away. We've got 10 plus N minus 1 is 19, D, and that's equal to 86. So 19D is 76, and D is 86 over 19, which is 4. So that implies that D equals 4. Okay. Now they haven't given you very much. We haven't given you very much space to do all this calculation in. So I've instead of writing lines and lines of calculations, I'm going to do this quite sort of tersely. But you've got the method there. So D equals 4 and A equals 10. And the only thing that we now have to do is use this formula and set it equal to 5,194 and solve for N. And you'll find that since it's a quadratic, you're going to get two solutions. One of them will be negative. It doesn't make sense to talk about the negative value of the nth term of an arithmetic series when n is negative, so we just reject that and go ahead. So let's fill in what we can do here. We've got n, we don't know what it is, over 2, times 2a, we already know is 20, plus n, we don't know, so n minus 1, and then d is 4, so I can say at this point 4n minus 1, and this is equal to 5194. I'm going to have to expand this side out, and I can see I'm going to get a quadratic, because when I multiply this n all the way through, I'm going to get an n squared term. So let's do that. 20n over 2 is 10n, and then 4n over 2 is 2n, multiplied by n squared, n minus 1 is going to give me 2n squared minus 2n. That's 5194, and then I've got 2n squared plus 8n equals 5194. Now all of those terms are even, so I can divide them by 2, but it doesn't make any difference if I don't. Let's do it. That gives me. I'm also going to subtract this side, so I've got everything set to equal as normal. So n squared plus 4n minus, and this gives me 2597 equals 0. So I've subtracted the 5194 and then I've divided everything by 2, and that still works, of course, because having 0 on one side and then dividing it by 2, I've still got 0. This is my quadratic, and I need to solve it. Now you're going to have trouble here factorizing this kind of in your head, because you need two numbers that multiply up to minus 2,597, which are kind of 4 apart, one of them being negative and one of them being positive. So at this point, you want to put this into your calculator. You should, I think, probably show the substitution into the quadratic formula here. You've got an a value of 1, a b value of plus 4, and a c value of minus 2,597. So stick that into your calculator, but you must show the substitution. Interestingly, looking at the mark scheme for this, there is a mark for showing the factored form, which is n minus 49 n plus 53 equals 0. There's a mark for showing, alternatively, there's a mark for showing the substitution into the quadratic formula, or there's a mark for showing the thing in completed square form, which is n plus 2 squared minus whatever it is, 3001 or something along those lines, I think. That's no, 2601. 2601 equals 0. Either one of these, 1, 2 or 3, gets you the mark for method, but in fact jumping straight to the answer, which is what your calculator will do, means that you miss one of those marks. So I recommend that you show the quadratic. Hang on, let me just get that right. So you either get a mark for this, or you get a mark for the substitution into the quadratic formula, or you get a mark for writing it down in completed square forms. One of those things you've got to do, or you will miss a method mark. And it's only then that you can jump to the solution n equals 49 or n equals minus 53, and then you can reject this one and state n equals 49 at this point. Okay, so generally, if it's one of the questions at the end, it's going to be quite involved. If they're asking you for n, there is going to be enough information for you to work out a and d, and then you are substituting into this sum formula, and you'll end up with a quadratic. Alternatively, they will give you n, and you will use this and this, which will give you two equations, in both of which a and d are unknown. But since you've got two equations, you can simplify the first one in terms of a or d, substitute it into the second one and solve, and then substitute back into the first one, just like you normally do with a simultaneous equation. So really, just look out for whether or not they're asking you for a and d, or whether they're asking you for n as they are here.